Hello guys, welcome to Grounded Roots Healing. I remain Jason, and you may hear some snorting sounds coming from beside me. It's just my little dog. I took her with me today, not thinking that I was going to be making a video, and then she's got a deviated septum and she makes a lot of noise. So anyway, if you hear some snorting, it's not me. I had thought strongly about not making any more videos. In fact, I wasn't going to. I didn't see the point. You know, a lot of this stuff, I started out doing this as an instructional, like a how-to awaken type thing, and then it turned into a way for me to, well, I determined that was not going to work. It was a waste of time. But it turned into more, it began as that and then morphed into a way for me to formulate ideas. And frankly, I don't feel the need to vocalize these anymore. A lot of my ideas have been concretized, and that's a strong word, concretized, because everything always changes, but I don't feel the need to speak them out loud in order to clarify them for myself. And the other day I was trying to make some comments to somebody who responded on a completely different subject, and I noticed that my comments kept getting deleted. I'm not sure what that's about, but it seems like there's some sort of issue with me being allowed to comment on things. Now, it doesn't seem to be happening when people comment on my page, but it does happen anytime I comment outside of my page. So, you know, directing people towards my content is becoming quite difficult. And I don't know any way around that. And I, frankly, you know, the comment I got from someone who in the know was to make a new channel, and I just don't have the energy to bother with that. So I was just going to shut it down. But then today I got a comment from somebody on one of my shorts about my content resonating deeply with them, and that they were in a tough place, and that they really appreciated what I was doing. So that helped. It made it seem like it was worthwhile. Even if one person gets something from it, it's definitely worth my time. So, I guess I will continue to talk about it. So, some ideas I had were in regards to being a man and a provider, essentially. So, as we are men in this society, we're conditioned that we are to provide for our families. And that if you're not providing for your family, you are a waste of space, essentially. And you know, if you're not constantly working and killing yourself, you're a waste of space. That has been my experience, and it has been brainwashed into me since I was a little kid. And I took it really seriously. You know, for a large portion of my life, I did kill myself working. I buried all the emotional stuff down deep, and I used alcohol to cover that up, and I kept working and working and working, because that's what a man does. You know, you have responsibilities, and it's your job, and etc., all of those societal conditioning issues. So I, even to this point, up to a few days ago, I still have guilt and shame, right? It's always guilt and shame with me. And it was about not working. So for those who don't know, I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening last December 21st to be precise. And it lasted into an enlightenment stage. It went immediately into enlightenment. So like a Kundalini awakening, and it lasted for 3 days. At which point then I went through what I like to call soul boot camp, after which, where I wasn't really enlightened, but I was starting to, I've seen through the veil and understood, and I was getting lessons from the universe in this 3D realm, which was really trippy and weird and made a person feel like they were crazy. And since that's all abated and things have gotten a little more subtle, I've gone on this path of healing myself and learning. And I've been doing that for, well, since last December. I had a brief stint where I did a month-long job in Morocco, which made me some money. And like I was working full-time and I quit because I knew deep down that I wasn't going to be able to heal myself and do that job at the same time. So I quit it. It was a high-paying job. Then I took a job for a month. It was in May, I believe. And for a month, and that I did that job as a way to try to see if I could still work in this 3D world. Oh, the seat is killing me here. It's hot. A way to work in this 3D world, and I couldn't do it. I did it for the month, and then I turned down a high-paying job overseas. Then I turned down several other jobs in that field that would have been better than what I had originally. And okay, so I'm turning down high-paying jobs left, right, and center so that I can heal myself. Well, you have to pay the bills. So I had been, I don't know if you'd say fortunate, because the universe puts this in your lap, but I put money away for retirement. And I decided that I was going to live off of that until I felt I was ready to go back to either this job or something in this, let's say, 3D world showed itself to me on a path on this more of this enlightened, let's say, hippie, new age healing type work. Something along those lines would show up to me that would interest me and that I had an ability to work in. So I tried several things, and they never seemed to work out. I never had a passion for it, so I just kept learning in general about this whole subject of healing ourselves. Well, it just doesn't pay the bills, so I've been living off my retirement savings for quite a while now. And then in the back of my mind, there was always a bit of guilt because I'm not bettering the situation of my family financially. Yes, I'm healing myself, and yes, I'm definitely learning, but to what end, right? So the other day I've had about enough of this because, one thing, if I were to look at, one thing that I did accomplish this year was to quit drinking. Now, I was drinking quite heavily, not as heavily as I could get away with. And it was killing me. But it was also keeping me alive because of all the trauma that I had to deal with. So I thought of this the other day, and I mentioned this to my wife, not that she has ever put any pressure on me to go back to work or to not do what I'm doing. She's been quite the opposite. She knows I need to do this. It's me. This is all my stuff that I put on myself based on what society puts on us men. So I did quit drinking this year, which is a massive accomplishment. Like, just put it in perspective. I chose to not go to work, to use some of the money that I put away by working my ass off to pay for this so that I could stop drinking. Now, the alternative is I end up in rehab or I die. Now, which I chose to do this, and I did it. I've accomplished it. how much is that worth? How much is that worth? You know, if I need to justify everything, then how much value is on that? And I don't know. And the answer is a lot. You know, not only will I be more productive in my older age, and the quality of life will be better, and all my relationships are better because of this, there's a financial aspect to it. And I just thought of this a little while ago. You know, it's not free to drink alcohol. It's extremely expensive, especially here in Canada, which I guess is a really good thing. You know, I don't know how much I was drinking. I was not trying not to, let's see, I was, okay, all right, no. I was trying not to consciously keep track of it, I guess, would be more likely. So I didn't, you know. I'm not really sure how much I was spending, but I suspect I'd be quite surprised at how much it was actually costing me. So I've stopped doing that. I stopped on March 1st of this year. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We're well into November now. That's 8.5 months of no alcohol consumption, of no purchasing alcohol. Not to mention all the other things you do to try to cope with all the pain. Like spending on buying things that you don't really need, and, you know, eating garbage food, and whatever you can do to bury that pain down, you do it. So I spend way less on nearly everything. The only thing that I spend a little bit more on is food, because we try to eat cleaner, which is very expensive. So, not that I need to justify this, but to that ego mind identity that needs to justify this, there's your justification. I stopped drinking and it's going to save me a bloody fortune. You know, maybe I would have lived another 20 years. How much would that have cost? You know, I don't even know. It's a lot of money. So the money that I earned and used to save myself, instead of going to rehab and crashing and burning, I preemptively stopped this and did it on my own. I didn't need the government. I didn't need programs. I didn't need anything. I did it by myself. Well, not by myself, by any stretch. But I did it, and I've stuck to it. So, yeah. Now, I should be proud of myself. I shouldn't have to do this. But, you know how deep this conditioning goes. If you're a man in this society and you think of things the way I do, you understand what I'm talking about. So, do it for yourself. Anyone who is having these types of problems like I did have, it's definitely worth it. Do what you need to do to solve this problem on your own before it starts to solve it for you, because eventually this is going to come to a head. So I think I'll leave it there. So like I always say, I hope this video finds you well. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.